Alright, what up YouTube? We back again, another video. Don Reacts, and today we got an evil nurse thinks the cameras are off. Without further ado, like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Let's jump right into it.
And those assembled here, I solemnly pledge to adhere to the code of ethics of the nursing profession, to cooperate faithfully with the other members of the nursing team, and to carry out faithfully and to the best of my ability the instructions of the physician or the nurse who may be assigned to supervise my work. I will not do anything evil or malicious, and I will not knowingly give any harmful drug or assist in malpractice. I will not reveal any confidential information that may come to my knowledge in the course of my work, and I pledge myself to do all in my power to raise the standards and prestige of the practical nursing. My life be devoted to service and to the high ideals of the nursing profession. At 10:48 a.m. on the 10th of April 2018, a judge of the Smith County, Texas court by the name of Jack Skeen Jr. sat in his chambers with a stack of papers in hand. At the very top of the first page was written warrant number JS 41018 FW1. The papers go on to explain alleged crimes with statements from expert medical professionals, depositions of law enforcement officers with over 30 years investigative experience, and evidence from employers. Jack Skeen Jr. had heard the sworn testimony of the detective in charge who had presented the case under oath this very morning in these very chambers, and so he put pen to paper, signing the warrant. To any peace officer of the state of Texas, you are hereby commanded to arrest William George Davis, a white male born on 02/03/1984. Just over a month earlier, on March 23, 2018, everything was normal. A day like any other for popular crowdfunding website GoFundMe. Campaigns appeared asking for money from all manner of people for any number of things: surgery for a pet, help giving a sick loved one a nice last holiday, a creative idea that needs a few $100s to be finished, a nurse who was just suspended for a misunderstanding and needs help funding his legal defense to clear his name and continue his career. Not only his career, his passion and ability to provide for a wife and 2 young children. That was the campaign that William George created on this day. The title simply said, "Please help my family." The goal was $10,000. Davis explained that he'd been a registered nurse for the last 7 years, having recently completed his...
Alright, first thing it's coming to my mind right now. I might be wrong. I could be wrong later on in this video. But I'm thinking this nurse created a fake GoFundMe. I think that's what happened. Probably what happened. He probably created a fake GoFundMe. Probably what happened.
Master of Science as an acute care nurse practitioner. He described himself as hardworking, well-respected, compassionate, a high-spirited family man with a great sense of humour, and how he always goes above and beyond for his patients. He has a passion for cardiology, where he has enjoyed providing care for the patient population over the last 7 years. But unfortunately, right as everything was going great, right when he finally passed his MSN and became an acute care nurse practitioner, things took a turn for the worse. A stupid misunderstanding in 2017 had left the medical board no choice but to suspend his license temporarily, and now he needed $10,000 to try and keep his career alive. No additional information was provided from Davis in the GoFundMe campaign, except that his family was selling their home to downgrade during these tough times, and how he's humble enough to recognize he needs help to fight this battle. People on GoFundMe, whether strangers or people that knew of Davis, heard this plea, and over the next 10 or so days, 56 people came forward with over $5,000 of generosity. He was well on the way to reach the goal and be able to defend his name. That was, of course, until the truth came out, and the campaign was closed unexpectedly.
I knew it.
You see, Davis was...
I knew it, bro. I knew it. Something, bro, I for sure know this nigga created a fake GoFundMe.
Entirely honest in the campaign. It was much worse than he had initially explained. Not only had the Texas Board of Nursing suspended his license on March 16th, just a week before the campaign was created, but he was also fired from the hospital he worked at for the last 7 years on February 15th, a month prior to the campaign and suspension of license. Had he explained the loss of employment as well as the suspension, perhaps he would have raised the money much quicker, though there is a good reason as to why Davis was not forthcoming with said information. The reason he was suspended was not for a misunderstanding. It was in accordance with section 301.455 in the Texas Occupations Code, which reads as follows: a Texas nurse's license shall be temporarily suspended or restricted on a determination by a majority of the board or a 3-member committee of board members designated by the board that, from the evidence or information presented, the continued practice of the nurse would constitute a continuing and imminent threat to the public welfare. Davis was, by this suspension, deemed to be an imminent threat to public welfare should he continue to be allowed near people whom he was trusted to care for. To everyone around Davis, this was all just a misunderstanding, as he had explained. To people in the hospital, they knew something was wrong. Seriously wrong. On January 25th, 2018, in the early hours of the morning, a nurse in the intensive care unit saw Davis enter the room of a patient he was not designated to care for. She also saw him leave shortly after. This patient was recovering well from cardiovascular surgery. That was until things took a turn for the worse.
What this nigga do?
Severe complications arose. Davis showed up 5 minutes later to try and help, but the damage was already done. Coincidentally, the complications occurred not long after Davis had been seen leaving the room, which prompted the nurse who saw him to report the behaviour to higher-ups immediately.
Oh, he
I was
ain't
concerned
shit.
enough to know that I had a gut feeling. That told me something was wrong from a nursing practice perspective. The nurse in question had such a bad feeling about Davis, in fact, that she didn't want something bad to happen to another patient during Davis' upcoming night shift. The hospital agreed and removed Davis from the floor immediately. This included suspension with pay while they investigated what exactly had happened. During the investigation, there was meetings held between the hospital, witnesses, and Davis himself, at which point he was expected to explain why exactly he went into the patient's room at this time. According to Davis, he was just there to silence an IV pump, which was beeping, making noise. He thought this would be a good deed for...
Yeah, Davis is definitely a shady character, bro. Like, what did this nigga do while he was in there, bro? You definitely a shady character. I can tell, yeah, I'm not gonna like this nigga at the end of this video.
The nurses who were perhaps busy doing other things. Later, he changed his story that he was flushing blood from the line. Usually, if you were to interact with a patient in any way, you would tell others what you did and why. Not doing so is completely unacceptable. A nurse of 7 years would know this. During email exchanges at a later date, Davis claimed he didn't know whether the issues the patient had were caused by his actions, but that he would never do so knowingly. Through the investigation, security footage was being reviewed, which showed he was indeed the last person to interact with the recovering patient before the tragic and immediate decline. 21 days of paid suspension later, the hospital fired Davis for, quote, falsification of care events and his unethical practice related to failure to disclose interventions. That, however, was just the beginning. This was not the first time that something like this had occurred. In fact, while they were investigating, they noticed a sickening, horrific trend. An eerily similar event had occurred not once, not twice, a total of 7 times in the past 6 months. Always late at night, between the hours of 11 PM and 4:40 AM, patients that were recovering in intensive care, who often were recovering very well, took sudden, sharp declines, their symptoms being like that of a sudden stroke. This was of significant concern to the hospital as it represented a statistical anomaly, but it wasn't until this investigation that they could narrow down exactly why this was happening.
Yo, this nigga's
Davis
a piece of
was
shit.
present on the ward for every single event. Of these 7 cases investigated, 2 of the patients at the time were deceased. 5 of them were severely injured. Upon discovery of this connection, the hospital immediately contacted the police and presented their findings, which then was presented to other health experts.
Yo, my thing is, how did this nigga get hired? How did this nigga get hired to be a fucking nurse, bro? This nigga is literally like, I don't know exactly what he's doing, but it seems like he's purposely hurting these patients, obviously. But is he like killing them like on purpose type shit, bro? Like, the fuck is this nigga doing? This nigga's a real piece of shit, bro. Like, this nigga just going around killing patients? Like, what the fuck is wrong with this nigga?
To put forward written testimony about what they thought was happening. Medical records and autopsies indicated that in all cases, there was significant air within the brain of each patient. This information was put together in a document that was then presented to Jack Skeen Jr., the 241st District Court Judge, who signed off on the arrest warrant of one William George Davis, April 10th, 2018. He was arrested shortly after and held on a $2 million bond until trial, a trial that was pushed back repeatedly until it commenced proper on September 28, 2021. Davis pled not guilty to the charges. The defense his attorney presented claimed that the hospital was in the wrong and they were using Davis as a scapegoat simply because he was present at each and every occurrence. During the trial, many testified against Davis, including those of the victims' families and one of the victims themselves, who aside from a bad heart prior to surgery was perfectly healthy, but now had left-sided weakness, lost vision, difficulty walking, and required assisted living. What the prosecution argued using the testimony from multiple experts was that William George Davis, while working in the intensive care unit as a nurse charged with the care of patients, was entering the rooms of those recovering from surgery and injecting them with air, which then traveled to the brain, causing catastrophic consequences.
Hey yo, this nigga's a straight piece of shit, bro. You a straight serial killer, dog. Like, that's some fucked up shit. So you know they're recovering, and you just gonna go in there and then put air in their brain, bro, and make their condition far worse. Make their condition worse. You a piece of shit, bro. Burn in hell.
According to testimony from Agent John Day of the United States Secret Service, in 2018, about a month before he was arrested, Davis used his laptop to Google search list of serial killers by number of victims. Agent Day was responsible for analysing Davis' laptop, and other such searches were discovered in the process, such as Mother Frances Hospital, which is where he worked, and Mother Frances Hospital investigating possible serial killer, which occurred on March 16, 2018, before the detectives and hospital had fully put together his involvement in the deaths and the harm of the 7 patients. The laptop was also used to read articles about serial killers on multiple different occasions. At the end of the trial, Davis was found guilty of killing John Lafferty, Ronald Clark, Christopher Greenaway, and Joseph Kalina. He was also accused of killing Perry Frank, James Blanks, and James Sanderson, as well as injuring 5 other patients, though there was difficulty in proving the others, so it stood with the original 4. After conviction, prosecutors pushed for the death penalty, which the state of Texas, as well as 24 other states, still carry. During sentencing...
Hey, I live in Texas. We real big on the death penalty, bro. You fuck up that bad, you do some shit that bad, oh, best believe your ass gonna be on death, bro. Your ass gonna get death, nigga. Down here in Texas, we don't play. We don't play.
Just played a voice recording of Davis calling his ex-wife from jail, in which Davis confessed to her he would purposefully hurt patients in the ICU, intensive care unit, in order to prolong their time in the hospital. He did this so there were more hours of overtime for him to work, and therefore to earn more money. He was hurting...
To earn more money, bro. So you did that shit for money, dog. Yeah. Burn in hell. I hope you getting fucked in the ass every day in prison, bro. And getting beat the fuck up. You did that shit for money, nigga. Bro, niggas do some... Bro, people do some crazy ass evil shit for fucking money, bro. All this shit for some fucking paper, nigga. You a hoe.
Vulnerable people under his care to make money. The Hippocratic Oath refers to an oath of ethics historically taken by physicians, coming from one of the most widely known Greek medical texts.
He broke all
and
the damn
requiring a new
oaths.
physician to swear by a number of healing gods to uphold certain standards. I will use my power to help the sick to the best of my ability and judgment. I will abstain from harming or wronging any man by it. This is typically taken by doctors, but for nurses there exists a slightly modified version referred to as the Nightingale Pledge, named in honour of Florence Nightingale and has existed since 1893. Before God and those assembled here, I solemnly pledge to adhere to the code of ethics of the nursing profession, to cooperate faithfully with the other members of the nursing team, and to carry out faithfully and to the best of my ability the instructions of the physician or the nurse who may be assigned to supervise my work. I will not do anything evil or malicious. I will not knowingly give any harmful drug or assist in malpractice. I will not reveal any confidential information that may come to my knowledge in the course of my work. and I pledge myself to do all in my power to raise the standards and prestige of the practical nursing. My life be devoted to service and the high ideals of the nursing profession. William George Davis broke his oath. He targeted people who were entrusted to the care of the medical institution he swore to assist, patients that were under the trusted care of his colleagues. He did so without cause, ending lives and harming families beyond words, entirely for the sickness in his mind.
Yeah, fuck that nigga, bro. Fuck that nigga. You did all that shit for money. You a bitch. Rest in peace to all the victims, man. That's some sad ass shit, bro, for some fucking money, nigga. My thing is, how did nigga even get hired, bro? Damn, niggas need to start doing background checks, bro. But that's gonna be in this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. I'll see y'all boys at the next one. We out.